about to feel all cozy about it.
Everything good? Good evening, everyone. So today's December 23rd, 2025. It's 6:03 p.m. and we are at our December Little Haiti Revitalization Trust Board meeting.
Leslie England Dorland.
Present.
Ashley Toussaint. Absent. Alyssa Zapata.
Present.
Robert Holland.
Present.
Rudy Meme.
Present.
We have quorum to proceed.
Any person who acts as a lobbyist pursuant to City of Miami Ordinance Number 11469, codified in Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code, must register with the City Clerk prior to engaging in lobbying activities before city staff, boards, committees, and the City Commission. A copy of said ordinance is available in the office of the City Clerk at City Hall. The material for each item on the agenda is available online on the city's website. Any person may be heard by the board through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the board unless modified by the chair. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the board takes action on such proposition. The chair will advise the public when the public may have the opportunity to address the board during the public comment period or at any other designated time.
So we'll go ahead and open it up to public comment. Just come to the podium, state your name, address, and you'll have 2 minutes. Going once, going twice. Okay, no public comments. We'll go ahead and move into legislative items. I'm sorry.
Real quick, because we added this to the agenda this time around, and I don't think we've had it before, but we have order of the day now. So the idea there is that we look at the agenda, and if we want to add anything, we vote to add it or not, and then just like the City Commission, we'll vote on the final agenda that we're going to take. And once you have that vote to set the agenda, then we move on to the next item.
Okay. So order of the day. Any amendments to the agenda?
No. I make a motion to keep it as is.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Then we'll move on to legislative items. The approval of the minutes from our last meeting, November 18th, 2025.
I'll move it.
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, okay? I don't think we need an absent waiver because he's on his way, okay? So we're going to do Resolution 4C, Resolution 2025-020, Miami Foundation.
This item is coming back from last month. At that meeting, the board had requested for this item to come back contingent upon a few things. One, for us to contact and have a conversation with concerned leaders. I see Leonie is here representing concerned leaders, which we have had a conversation. We also have Keith Carswell, who's back here as well. We worked with Keith and Clota to be able to do an information session. We did at both ITech and here in Little Haiti, starting with the AI classes. We, Tom and I have also worked with the Miami Foundation to establish the plan in which the funds would be given to the Miami Foundation on behalf of the trust. So they have agreed that they would create this fund and we would be making annual installments and they would be charging us an administrative fee and we would be entering into a grant agreement. We did do a bid waiver, which would be required because Miami Foundation is a private nonprofit organization. We did that advertisement for the 10 business days requirement. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions or Keith would like to make a statement. He did make a presentation at the last board meeting. I don't know if there's any questions in regards to the program, the Venture Miami program.
I really wasn't going to speak, but what I would say that the meetings we've had, I've met with the concerned leaders. We had a virtual meeting. They've been very supportive in our conversations. I believe that this could be a very good part residents of the Little Haiti Revitalization Trust area. So.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be back. I was away in grandmotherhood, so I'm good, great aunt. So let me I'm stealing my sister's grandchild. So good evening. I'm here representing Clota, our support for Venture Miami, but we also want to state for the record that we had approached another partner, Reentry One, and they was very interesting to us because it would provide support in Little Haiti. So we are accepting the partnership. We are definitely acknowledging, with Venture Miami, but we do want also to acknowledge that we will be following, monitoring what happens with students who live in Little Haiti and who have to travel out of the community. We want to make sure that they do benefit from the programs, that it's not a matter of transportation, distance, etc. So we've talked to Joanne and we've expressed some of our to go to different venues. So just want to say again that we are very excited about this partnership, but we would like to have a measure of monitoring the success, the mobility, and the attrition rate, if there's any. If people drop out, we really want to understand why and what the issues are. Thank you.
I want to acknowledge that our vice chair is now here. And also, as Leonie stated, we did discuss those issues that the trust would know for each student that is a Little Haiti resident that we would be paying the Miami Foundation for them to go to school. We could look to provide wraparound services such as contacting for example, bus passes, if that transportation is an issue. So we'll look to monitor and see how we're able to assist those students with whatever their needs are. And then as far as the location that people have to go to school, remember, these are technical schools that are already in existence or through the Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Miami-Dade College is also one of them. So they're going to be enrolling in classes that are already at different locations. So it's not possible for us to be able to do Little Haiti. But we will monitor and see what, in addition to the scholarships, if there's anything or any additional type of support that we can offer.
So I understand. So CLOTA is not doing this with us.
OTA has, yes, we did have a conversation, and we have to do a corporate resolution on their behalf, but they will be, so the trust will be giving 200,000, but 100,000 of that allocation will be coming from CLOTA's allocation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was another marriage somewhere else, and you were letting us down some kind of way. So yeah, I was like, okay, what just happened here?
It's going to have to open up public comment. No.
So she mentioned reentry one, and so we're reentry one, so I just wanted a chance to kind of clarify something that may be entered into the record that may not be completely correct on our organization.
I was not aware of any of this, so this is up to the board if they want to.
Just go ahead. Yeah. We'll reopen it. Come on. Yeah. It's okay. Do we need a motion for that? Okay, thanks.
All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Giovanni Cyrus. I'm the founder and executive director of Reentry One. This is Chris Soares. She's our operations manager. What Leonie was referring to earlier was a discussion that we had with CLOTA and a presentation that was made on a proposal. Yeah, sorry. So the conversation and the presentation was about the workforce development aspect of it, not the apprenticeship programs. So I don't see where it should conflict with what Venture Miami proposed to the board. So we're just coming in terms of the workforce development, not the apprenticeship programs. All right, so I just wanted to state that for the record. Thank you.
I'll make the motion to move the item.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
The next item is our annual report that's due to the city manager's office every January 15th. And so we have our updated annual report for the fiscal year 24-25. That's inside for your review. I don't know if you want to summarize or if anyone has questions on the annual report.
It was a great annual report. Yeah.
Any questions from the board members? Okay. I can't do it myself.
Motion to approve annual report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Next item, Resolution 2025-022, adopting a special overlay district.
This item is brought by board member Alyssa, and so I would provide her with the opportunity to discuss.
Thank you so much. So most of you know that for quite some time, and that there's a couple different sections in that plan. And we also are aware of all of the development and all of the happenings and moving and changing that is going on in Little Haiti. And I have long been concerned, and one of my chief priorities has been protecting Northeast 2nd Avenue and its character, and here, you know, the marketplace and the cultural center. So I worked with our executive director and our board attorney, and he was kind enough to come up with some language that can suffice in the meantime until that we are 100% done and can present the FIU plan in its, you know, total, with all its parts, you know, in its total final state. So this will kind of bridge the gap until we can get there. There was I guess, what do we want to call, I guess, information sheet of how the city is assisting us and how the planning and zoning department is going to address finalizing and making a complete set of guidelines for us. But this process will take somewhere between 6 to 8 months. And so, again, I think this will be a good stopgap. This will assist our executive director in being able to have something to give out when someone comes and says, you know, I'd like to develop, you know, this piece of property, and, you know, she'll be able to have a discussion, and we'll have something, you know, prepared for a discussion to incentivize them to cooperate, you know, with preserving, you know, the character and the look and the feel of downtown Little Haiti.
Oh, through the chair, I'll just, so this is just be like an interim, so it's not permanent, it's just something to kind of give us guidance in the meantime?
Yes, it actually already exists. This is what was included in the community benefits agreement with Magic City. This is what existed under 11,000 that Leonie worked on many years ago. So this is something that, you know, has been cobbled together and has kind of been neglected over the years and never really finalized anywhere, you know, for the last 10 or 12 years. So this will hold it together until we can get a permanent, fully reviewed, you know, enforceable set of guidelines, you know, from the city.
So I'm going to need a little bit more explanation than that. I'm trying.
All right.
Layman's terms.
I was holding back.
Let Tom take
All
it
right.
because, you know,
Okay.
this is kind of, you know, it's been around a long time, so.
Okay. I'll allude, but you can probably provide more details about the planning.
So what
Okay.
so what we have in front of us is the ordinance that has been adopted, signed, sealed, delivered, right here.
These are the design criteria that were in, I believe it was ordinance number 12660 back when we were, I think this is pre-Miami 21 days. So there was a special overlay district that was called Historic Lemon City, Little Haiti. And that was on the books. And then when Miami 21 was adopted, it seems to have either fallen into the crack somewhere. But the city has an ongoing effort to update these special overlay districts. There's just, you know, a bit of a backlog, and it's going to take them a while. We've been working with them, and Alyssa's been working with them to try and on this one. But there's like professional services that have to go into it, so they need money, and, you know, so they still have some work to do. But what we thought would be a decent stopgap is this is serving as sort of a guiding principle, not like a hard deadline or a hard requirement on anything. But we can look to this, and it comes in that has some of these design elements, or there's a grant program for facade work, for instance, like our small business grant program, and they want to do the facade, and it includes some of these design elements. We can then prioritize those and you know, try to give more grant dollars to things like that because of this reso.
Through the chair. I guess my overall question would be like, what would be the executive power of this instrument? Will it be able to limit, or is it just, like you said, if we see future
proposals that had these components, they would just become prioritized. Outside of that, is this kind of like just neutral?
Sort of, yes. The only scenario I can think of, it would have like a substantive effect is if we're, at the point where we're running out of dollars, and then we got to pick one. If we get to that spot, then I would say that because of this, we should prioritize. But I don't foresee that occurring for quite some time. And this also acknowledges that the city is undergoing a similar effort. So once the city adopts the new special overlay, this sort of acknowledges that this is a temporary measure until the city adopts whatever they're going to adopt. So that would wipe this out. And then it would become an enforcement through code, right? We wouldn't have to prioritize anything. It's just or by zoning rules.
So I have a few questions. I didn't see very many design elements in here. Was there something in here that referenced design elements?
French Creole.
Let's turn some of these off.
It talks about Caribbean French Creole design. Not explicit, but just.
Yeah, but normally there's like a booklet that kind of gives you what
So
those features
at
kind of look like.
At this moment, what is on the record as far as, say, no chain link fences on northeast section are in there. And then we also have what we've worked on that is included in the FIU plan that can be used for suggestion at this time until, a professional can look at this and come up with, guidelines that can be passed by the commission.
Can we add that FIU stuff? This is city ordinance here, so I don't know if we have
Yes,
the authority
no,
to trump
so we
that.
cannot. So
No, we
I
can
just
just
want to
borrow from
also reference that there's a discussion item, which is a memo from the city's planning department. And so in that memo, they are providing us with a timeline for them to be able to take and bring it up to Miami 21 code. While they're doing that, simultaneously, they are also reviewing the guidelines that were created by FIU. They will at the same time see what is allowed per code while they're updating the cultural overlay. So cannot pass the FIU guidelines without knowing whether or not that is permissible per code. So this is what the discussion item, which is later on, but it is referenced. The planning department is then outlining what steps they would have to take. They're estimating that it would take them about 6 months for them then to design guidelines for Little Haiti according to this historic overlay.
So I would just like to add what I am trying to very miserably spit out is this is all by cooperation at this moment. There is nothing that we can say, you must do this. This is to incentivize, this is for cooperation, this is because someone would want to be a good partner in the neighborhood and, do this at this time. Even, possibly in the future, this would still be by cooperation. So, this is something that is just a tool to use and, to have something to, give as, an idea as an example. This isn't something right now that is punitive or that is meant to, penalize anyone.
I'm not necessarily against the item, I'm just trying to figure out what it does. And so I recognize, it sounds like it's just an FYI if you desire to be compliant with what this board says. We would love it, but we have no control over it.
Exactly.
But the biggest thing is, how do we get the FIU stuff incorporated? Because I had notes on here about the FIU study, as well as a consultant that we're hiring, and how do we make sure those proper interfaces are taking place with the city department to come up with a structure of an ordinance that brings about the impact that we really want, that has legal authority versus, innuendo. I don't want somebody to come to me, well, I was gonna put a chain link fence up, but if you give me $10,000, I'll put a metal fence up.
Understood. And so that's why if you want to look in your booklet at the discussion item that's in the back, it answers those questions, right? So the city, between staff and hiring an outside consultant. They are going to be able to answer that question, create the ordinance, create the suggested design guidelines based on what FIU presented, and then return that information to us for us to review as an ordinance taken to City Commission. However, this timeframe is a minimum of 6 months for the planning department to be able to do that.
Is there anything, if we pass this, other than voluntarily agreeing, we have no enforcement right?
With respect to which thing, the FIU guidelines or
No. The ordinance, the item that's before
this?
us.
No, we don't have enforcement because it's, they're zoning rules, so we don't have any enforcement over that. I think, like you said, it's more aspirational, and the only time that it would come into effect is the scenario I pointed out earlier, which is we're down to the last dollars, and we have 2 applications, and we got to prioritize. We have this policy that's been stated to prioritize things that meet the district. So that's the only time that it would come into effect, and it also is, you know, this becomes voided as soon as the city adopts its own new special overlay district, because once that happens, then it's enforced by the city by virtue of the code, right, which is a harder enforcement than we could ever do.
So there's no negative at all, so
No.
with that understanding, I don't really have a problem. Are there any retroactive impacts against zoning applications or approvals that people have received thus far?
No, this
Okay.
would be moving forward.
All right.
So I guess I'm still confused, because there's an ordinance in place, and I understand that it needs to be changed, you know, amended, right, to come in with some of the things that you talked about. So what would this actually, because when I'm reading this, I mean, I feel like we do this already. When things come to our attention, I think the board members talk about how it's very important for the architectural, you know, guidelines and designs of Little Haiti. I think that's been a conversation at every juncture. So are we adopting this like our mission, our value? Like what, I don't, because it's not an ordinance, right? It's not.
Right, it's more of a
not-
policy statement.
It's a policy
Yeah.
statement. Okay, got it. All right.
I intended to use it like a tool, you know, to give a little bit more paper, so to speak, you know, for our executive director to use in the meantime till we can get something, you know, a little more concrete.
No, I get that. I guess it just doesn't lay out what that is. It's a bit vague, and I don't know if that's intentional, because I wouldn't know what the design would look like unless somebody showed me some pictures. I'm just saying.
I'll answer because you're looking at me. So I would have to say that for the actual overlay district, I unfortunately cannot answer to the best of my ability on that because I'm not a planner. But the rationale of this was to take what has been adopted by the city in some form, because that's to us that is a safe move, as opposed to trying to say adopt the FIU design criteria, which at this point we don't know if everything in there can be done. And then we would have a policy statement that is contrary to what is in the city's code, and that we definitely can't do, so.
Public?
Comment.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand the attorney's explanation. I know that there was something done maybe 30 years ago by DPZ when they were doing the design district, which had, again, all sorts of design, I don't know, street vernacular, street furniture for this block, right? So if tomorrow we pass this recommendation, somebody comes and wants to build like something with some 21st century design, what will happen? So that I can understand what you're talking about, avocation program, you know, what's going to happen if somebody comes with a design that's clearly not aligned with the, what weight does this recommendation have in terms of guiding the architects, the, you know, code planning, zoning, et cetera, in guiding? And another question is the word French Creole. Why is there French in something that has to do with this neighborhood? Why are French and Creole together in the design, you know, vernacular? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, we would have to go back to 2005 for that. I mean, that's
So I
20
just
years
want to
ago.
say that the board here does not approve any projects. We're not city commission. We have no control over whether or not a building would come over 21st century. Traditionally, you have seen developers come before us asking for us to support their. We, as a board, do not make decisions either for the planning and zoning or for city commission. What we're doing is saying the trust as an entity, right, is adopting that's already done at the city and in existence. However, it does need to be brought up to code, improved, so that it's aligned with what our current zoning is according to the city. So projects in which it envisions the French Creole Lemon City, which was established by the city back in 2005, so we have no say in the name or the word French. So that's what we're doing here today. Sean, you want to make a comment?
Good evening, board. CEO, city attorney, happy holidays on the eve of Christmas Eve. I wanted to say, I guess I'll touch on that. There is a exhibit in the SAP that references, you know, this design guidelines and adhering to it. Were ambiguous back in the old city code that, you know, was not fully adopted into Miami 21. I strongly agree, and obviously we've tried to work closely with the board and everyone to, you know, continue to work forward to actually creating something that is substantial that can help enforce. I don't think we overall have a, you know, contest, you know, in any way the board using this as a reference and a guidelines. I think our biggest, you know, has always been one of our biggest things and biggest, I don't know if it can be amended into it, but is to, you know, when you think of the storefronts, and certainly, you know, this building in the city is, I think, one of the biggest culprits of it, with the hurricane shutters and the aesthetic and the feel that does to the community overall. When you drive through here and see shuttered buildings anywhere, you automatically have a sense of negativity. You have a sense of, why are they doing that? Is it crime related and all those things? So if, even until, as knowing this is a guideline and not necessarily anything in standards, we would recommend through MCID to try and incorporate something that prohibits or, you know, certainly refutes against allowing shuttered windows, storefronts during any daylight hours, you know, late at night. You know, again, is there a window where it's acceptable to prevent any crime? But at the end of the day, getting away from it in all cause during the day, we would recommend, if there's an amendment or any way that can be incorporated into this guideline, as well as any future, you know, ordinance and working with the City of Miami Planning Department. Thank you.
So thank you for your comments, and I don't disagree either. And whether it's signage or the windows or bars on the windows. It all goes a long way. And Magic City is one of the places that I actually got some of the idea for this from, because through their project, whether it's been naming the different parts of their SAP, using plants that are, native plants to Haiti, different ideas that they were able to incorporate, culture and history into their project, I think can be carried throughout, the rest of the area, the rest of the neighborhood. So a lot of it is just, opportunities and incentivizing and having a conversation and having, kind of the board stand on that and, use it for each and every application. This is more about, too, like what we've done as far as treating everyone equally, each application the same, reviewing it the same, having the same standards and guidelines. That way we're providing the same information to everyone that comes to us with different projects. So this is just trying to, move forward a little bit and, have something, that we've all discussed and agreed on. So when Joanne, has an application come to her, she's comfortable and can have that discussion with the developer or, the project owner.
Comments if I can. Is there any way that we can get the FIU folk and the consultant to interface with the city to kind of work through some of this stuff? I know that's our plan. And if the city has some preliminary things that are very conducive to great communities, is there any way we can get some sort of cheat sheet on what some of those things are now that you guys look at that we can start considering here at the board as well? Is that possible? i.e. the shutters and some other things. All right, so I don't have a problem moving the item since it doesn't really negatively impact anything that we're doing. But hopefully we can get these other coordinations done in a robust fashion to work on a plan that actually brings about an area plan that people can bite into and gives at least some criteria for folk who want to develop or operate within the area. So I'll make the motion to move the item.
If a motion is made, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Just wanted to, if I may, just go ahead and do the discussion item because it talks about, the planning. So we have been in conversations in the planning department from the city, has been here and, they are aware of the FIU guidelines. They've been attending to our community meetings as well. And so we know that the cultural overlay needed to be improved or within our Miami 21 code. The only reference, I think, to the guidelines currently in the code is limited to like the number of alcohol licenses that are available within the streets that are designated under this Lemon City. And so the discussion item document that's inside of your binder, it was provided to us by the planning department, and it lists out the task in which they need to do. We've been referencing how there's a consultant. If you look, they have from the consultant selection, they would be the one that would be hiring and getting a consultant to help them to establish these design guidelines that we're looking to establish. In addition, while they're doing this, they are also referencing the suggestions that were made in the FIU design guidelines when we were working through the strategic plan. And then it says that the time frame for this work is roughly 6 months with 4 weeks contingency for them to then be able to have a draft of the ordinance that we would be reviewing, and that eventually would have to go before commission to be adopted. So I just want to take the time and do that explanation is related to the item that was voted on. I don't know if anybody has questions in regards to the discussion item. Okay. So the last item I'm going to go through is the CEO report. I just want to run quickly just to let you know, we held the second infant sleep and child safety roundtable. We've been bringing together a group of providers who provide services to the youth, including DCF, local nonprofits. We plan on, it's kind of like a task force to address a lot of issues or problems that are facing our youth. This last meeting focused on human trafficking. We look forward to having the next meeting where we'll be talking about issues such as the immigration deadline for TPS that's going to come up soon and affecting families in our neighborhood. And we're also talking about the World Cup that's coming, which is related to human trafficking. So our next meeting with that group would be in January. Leslie, and I don't know if you have any comments that you wanted to talk about the roundtable? Make any statement?
Okay. Definitely, the trust has been working with a couple of different partners, really just to bring awareness to some of the situations, some of the social situations that impact this area. So it was a very collaborative meeting between the community partners. That, like I said, there's a lot of issues going on, but I know that the Department of Children and Families supports the initiative, and whatever we can do to, on the other side, my other hat, whatever we can do to bring awareness, it's definitely a great collaboration.
Thank you. Moving on, we did host with Keith's Department of the Economic Development an information session for a Tech Academy scholarships. And so that was done. That's the program that we're moving forward. Classes begin in January. The deadline already passed, and hopefully we'll be able to see some Little Haiti residents that program. Part of that outreach included going to ITech, which is the local middle and high school, formerly, I think it was Edison Junior High. And so we did make a presentation to the seniors there, letting them know about the program as well. We participated in the annual tree lighting here at the Little Haiti complex. We also attended the Miami Scores event, which is a soccer program in which Chairwoman King was recognized for the work at a local elementary school as well. Next, I have the list of all of our scholarship applications. We've grown our application list to 10 so far, so the program has begun to get some traction. Next, we have the list of the small business grants, including recent applications that we're still working on as well. We may have a disbursement next month for our next application. We're still working on home rehab grants with the city. One announcement is that we've been reached out to by a program that's offering culinary training at the OPEC. As long as a person is a D5 resident, they are able to get into this 8-week program for free. They have a class that begins in January, but they also have a class that begins in March. And so we're going to be working with them promote the program for any residents that are interested in this culinary training program to be able to go through that program for free. And then lastly, we have our financial report attached. Oh, and then the next thing I'm going to say is that we did receive an award, the Little Haiti Trust, from the Haitian real estate professionals this past Sunday for the Community Builder Award for the work that in the landscape of Little Haiti and affordable housing and those things. So I just wanted to acknowledge that as well.
And Leonie, I agree with your sentiments completely. I just want to say thank you to Joanne, thank you to Tracy, thank you to Gavison. I mean, you guys are doing incredible work. I hear about it from other people. You are really at every event, representing the trust, representing the board, and I could not be more excited to have a better executive team. You guys day and every day, and we really appreciate you. We really, really do. We have professionalized our team, okay? We have. So it's the holidays. To our constituents, to the residents of Little Haiti, happy holidays. To all of our partners, thank you for your support. We really appreciate it as a board, but we have come so far. Thank you. And also to our attorney. Thank you.
We have refreshments in the back, so please help yourself.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
All right. Meeting adjourned. So we just want to say thank you to the residents of Little Haiti. Thank you. Happy holidays. It's a pleasure to serve on this. It's a pleasure to serve on this board and to have my fellow board members. All the things that we've accomplished is really for Little Haiti and for the residents of Little Haiti. So happy holidays, and we will see you in the new year.